All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick's on the Power. So in this video, I want to talk about what I feel is one of the most surprising placings at the 2018 Mr. Olympia, and that was Dexter Jackson taking 7th place at this Olympia, slipping from his placing last year where he placed 4th. Now, keep in mind, this is a guy that just recently in 2015 took 2nd at the Olympia and won the Mr. Olympia back in 2008. Now, Dexter also holds the record for most Arnold Classic wins, and at 48 years old, he was the oldest bodybuilder on that stage. And as of 2018, this year's Mr. Olympia, this was his 19th Mr. Olympia appearance. So just placing in that top 10 after competing in 19 Mr. Olympias at the age of 48 is a very impressive accomplishment in and of itself. So props and nothing but respect towards Dexter Jackson. He's arguably one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time. But I want to talk about here what I think happened with Dexter Jackson and why I think he placed where he did. Now, earlier this year at the Arnold Classic Australia, Dexter Jackson had a clear injury to his bicep. Something was definitely wrong with it. And a lot of people were speculating that that bicep injury was going to carry over to the 2018 Olympia. And looking at the photos, I think it definitely did. That arm that you're looking at, specifically the left bicep, mostly visible in the front double bicep pose, that arm in particular just looks to be much more atrophied and smaller than the other arm. Now, back in Australia, what we saw with that injury was really a smooth look to that bicep. It really looked like it was holding fluid and really didn't have much separation or detail in that arm as a result of the injury. And I think as a result of that injury, maybe not being able to train that bicep like he used to, resulted in that arm looking atrophied. And I think that arm, not just the bicep, but the tricep as well, looks significantly smaller than the other arm, throwing off Dexter Jackson's usually legendary symmetry. Now, I think the other primary issue for Dexter here was his legs. I think Dexter has never really been known for having the best legs, but this year, I think it was starting to notice that the legs are starting to go. Typically, when you get older in bodybuilding, one of the first things that starts to get worse is your legs, and that's kind of what we saw with Kevin Levrone. And Dexter has been able to hold on to his leg size for actually a pretty long time now, but I think lately we've been seeing them slip more and more, and as a result, I think that really hurt his placings. And in addition to that, I think the conditioning was another key factor here. Dexter Jackson, his nickname is the Blade, and that's really because his calling card, his trademark, is coming in with razor-sharp conditioning, hence the Blade. But I think this year the Blade lost a little bit of its edge, and the conditioning wasn't quite what it used to be. He had kind of a film to his physique, didn't really look as sharp as he usually does. And one thing that I noticed here is if you compare some early photos of Dexter Jackson to Dexter Jackson now, is the midsection has certainly grown. A lot of people criticized this at the Arnold Classic in Columbus earlier this year, that they were saying Dexter had a bit of a gut. And if you look at older photos of Dexter, the midsection and the obliques, that area has certainly expanded over the course of his extensive career. And I think that hurt his placing also. Now, when I made my Olympia prediction video, one of the predictions that I had in that video that I caught a lot of flack for was I said this will be the year that Dexter Jackson places outside of the top 6. Specifically, I predicted that Dexter would be in 8th. So I was 1 place off of Dexter Jackson's placings. And I caught a lot of hate for that. People thought I was hating on Dexter or just being negative. But really, I was basing that off of the Arnold Australia appearance. He was beaten by Rolly and William Bonac, 2 guys who Dexter usually beats. Now, keep in mind, Rolly Winkler took 6th at last year's Olympia. So for Rolly to beat Dexter at a show like the Arnold Australia that close to the Olympia, I thought that was a very bad sign for Dexter, and that's why I saw Dexter slipping out of the top 6. It was no hate towards Dexter. I mean, he's been at the top of the game for a very long time now, but unfortunately, we're all human, and age is going to catch up with everybody. And Dexter, he can't stay at the top forever. He just can't. I think now is the time that we're starting to see him slip. So I've seen a lot of people in the comments saying Dexter is going to retire after this year. This is going to be his final Olympia. I don't think that's the case. I think Dexter's going to keep competing until he can't compete anymore. I'm sure this placing wasn't what he expected, but I'm sure we're going to continue to see Dexter compete at least until he's outside of the top 10 at the Olympia. Or at the very least, he's going to go for that number 20 Olympia appearance in 2019, his first Olympia being in 1999, which is, again, amazing. Now, can Dexter come back and place better than he placed this year? I think it is possible. I think if Dexter can recover that arm fully, like I said, I think a lot of the problems with the arm was the atrophy there, maybe not being able to train that arm like he should. And given some time, he might be able to recover that arm to where it was, kind of fixing that symmetry. And if he comes in next year with better conditioning, I think he could certainly improve upon a 7th place finish. But I think in all likelihood from this point forward, Dexter Jackson is no longer going to be like a top 3 or 4 guy. I think from this point, it's going to be top 6 outside looking in. kind of an area for Dexter. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching the video, and please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.